Got something slightly out of reach? Want to bop things that are just a bit too far away from you? Then get ready because the Soul Robber is the product for you. Grab important documents. Slap that power button from afar. Boop your dog on the nose. With Soul Robber, nothing is out of reach. So what are you waiting for? Come and Soul Grab the Soul Grabber. You won't be disappointed. Order now at www.soulgrabberwabber.co.com.org.nz to get a free complimentary mint. Terms and conditions apply. Soul Grabber may in fact not grab and is not made using the souls of its victims as far as we know. This is subject to change. Warning, we are not responsible for any flim-flam, boogaloo or grombonga attacks that take place due to the king of the one-book dimensions insecurities about actually having a weird stretchy green hand. Weirdo. Complimentary mint may give side effects such as fromping, gromping, slomping, and death if ingested before 6 o'clock. Hugs and kisses. I've always loved A Nightmare Before Christmas. While its story was never really anything special, the world and character designs were, and still are, absolutely fantastic, and the animation is beautiful. So imagine my surprise when I recently found out that there was a sequel to the film, in the form of a video game. Pretty surprising, but that isn't all. The game was created by none other than Capcom, and oddly enough, kinda plays like Devil May Cry. Not quite the type of game I was imagining, but hey, I'll take it. Also, it was released in 2005 for the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. Okay, cool, let's move on. Before we talk about the gameplay in more detail, let's quickly go over the story. Oogies' revenge takes place a year after the events of the movie, where Dr. Finkelstein gives Jack this green rubber band to help make Halloween spookier than ever. While Jack swings about with his fancy new snot whip, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, those three little shits, bring Oogie back to life because, and I quote, should be a laugh, mate. Oogie then decides to brainwash some people and kidnap Sally, who sends Jack a cheeky little note telling him that shit's fucked. Jack, outraged by the fucking of shit, sets off to rescue Sally, and shortly after goes and rescues a kidnapped Santa and kills Oogie. The story here is, well, it isn't really anything special, but thankfully a majority of the film's cast reprise their roles here, and it's kind of fun just to hear them all back in action. Ain't no poorly imitated Oogie here, mulatto. The gameplay here is actually pretty similar to Devil May Cry, but sadly lacks the depth of that series' combat. Jack has a standard whip attack, a grabby attack that can be charged up into a big old Beyblade, and a dodge that's very rarely worked well for me. I honestly think that some type of blocking would have worked pretty well in this game, maybe with like a parry system or something, I don't know. Just so you don't have to worry about whether or not you're still going to get hit while dodging. What I'm trying to say is Jack needs some better form of protection. Safe. Aside from the standard ability set, Jack can also transform into a pumpkin man and use some fire abilities, or turn into Santa and drop some presents. These forms are a pretty decent idea, but sadly aren't very useful for the most part. When it comes to the combat, you're better off just sticking with the whip. So these abilities are pretty much only used for the odd puzzle here and there. If by puzzle I mean burning a wooden plank, that is. For the most part, the combat is fairly fun, albeit quite repetitive. This isn't really helped by the lack of major enemy variety throughout the game. While the enemy designs are fairly good, and they're fun to beat up, there aren't really many different types of them that pop up throughout the game. You have a handful of unique enemy types which are then color swapped to show the player that they're more powerful. Instead of simply changing the colors of the baddies, I would have loved to see some more creepy Googars pop up. But what can you do? This doesn't really hinder the game all that much, it's just a bit of a minor irritant to me. I don't want to fight the same goobs for 10 hours, let me fight some new goobs. You goob. Throughout the game, there are also a decent amount of boss battles that, for the most part, are great. Sure, you have the same reused spider mini-boss popping up all the time, but it's a decently fun boss, so who cares? The main boss battles all have a unique mechanic, where you can collect notes during the battle to charge up a special meter, and once it's full, you burst out into a rhythm minigame. This complements the boss battles amazingly, as they're all set to a musical score, with the characters breaking it down and singing what they're feeling. The musical nature to the boss battles really caught me off guard my first time around, and I absolutely love it. They really make me feel like I'm actually playing a movie, instead of a half-assed tie-in game. game. In fact, that's the biggest positive to this game in my opinion. Instead of just shitting out a terrible movie tie-in game, Capcom have actually put in the time and effort to make something new and exciting. Good job, Capcom, you bloody did it. You did it good. Where's Mega Man? This effort can really be seen pretty much everywhere, from the character animations to the returning voice cast and the music accompaniment. Accompaniment. To the music, to the soundtrack. The soundtrack's good. They did good. Yeah. Now let's go from a big positive to a big negative. While the character and world design looks great, with the graphics being pretty solid, the level design for the first half of the game is pretty awful in my opinion. Yes, Capcom did keep to the film's design by making Halloween Town monochromatic, but a lot of the areas here look very similar, making them a hassle to get around when looking for your objective. I think the best way to fix this issue without screwing up the area's theme would be just to chuck in some more landmarks, so the player can actually recognize and distinguish one area from another. But as it stands, the first half of the game, level design wise, is just a black and white blur. Kinda like my Sonic OC. His name is Monic, do not steal. Overall, Oogies Revenge is a good time, but with a few issues holding it back. The combat is serviceable, the character designs are all great as always, the soundtrack is fantastic, and the boss battles are a good old time. But sadly, the lack in enemy variety and irritating level design prevents this game from being an easy recommendation. If you like the movie, then give Oogies Revenge a go. But if you're looking for your next fix of Devil May Cry style action, then this game will probably disappoint you. Again, it isn't a bad game. In fact, it's absolutely fine. It's just nothing special. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please share it with your friends, family, or creepy neighbor, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Just want to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters, James, Stuart, Spencer, Andre, Corey, Mark, and Harvey. You all get 10% off your next order of the Soul Grabber. Still doing that bit, apparently. If there's anything you liked or didn't like, then be sure to let me know in the comments down below, or tweet me at Snooping Turtle. Also, if you want to watch more videos of me doing dumb stuff, then you can check out this video I did for Rogue Galaxy, or this one I did for Kids Next Door, Operation Video Game. That's all from me now. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye.